Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this post-mortem of my recent Blitz chess game. I played this game against DDR56 from Israel. And let's take a look. I was black and played e5 in response to e4. He played bishop c4, the bishop's opening. And I played knight f3, the normal move, and he plays d3, the normal move. And I played bishop c5, which is maybe not the most common move. Let's see, we can play c6, trying to build up in the center, or knight c6, supporting this pawn and trying to keep a clamp on d4, it looks like. But bishop c5 is a nice aggressive move. And he plays h3, and this kind of takes us out of book. So let's go back, take a look at this with the engine. I'm going to turn the engine off after a little bit, but just have it on during the opening. You can see what it thinks of the different moves that are played as I talk about it. I was worried about this pin of the bishop coming to g5 here and pinning this knight. So I want to play d6, and once d6 happens, the bishop can't come back here and block that pin. So so this pin is kind of awkward. So I went ahead and played h6. Okay, it hasn't changed too much. Knight f3, normal developing moves, d6, I get that in. Castles, castles. a4. So with a4, I had the idea that maybe he was trying to trap this bishop, although now that I look at it, it doesn't seem like that's possible. It would require a little more preparation. He would have to play c3 and then b4 and then a5, and that would trap the bishop. But as a preemptive strike, I played this move here, a6. Looks like this is a very slow position. It's interesting that we can play these slow moves and get away with it, but it's closed and there's not a whole lot happening just yet, so sometimes it's okay to play these moves, although they're not necessarily the best moves. Okay, so he starts to build up in the center with the c3, and I want to challenge this bishop immediately. This bishop can be very powerful, and yeah, the computer didn't like that so much. It probably doesn't like the fact that I'm doubling my pawns here, but you'll see that this actually, yeah, as it looks at it deeper, you see this is still pretty even. Bishop e3, knight to here. I have a better response. Thinks I should just take there and double his pawns too, but I want a slightly asymmetric pawn structure. Gives a little more opportunity for things to go wrong or go right, as it were. So he took, maybe not the best move, and I get my knight to a good square, so I'm happy so far. He brings this knight out to a3. I guess the other move he could have tried would be to d2 and come out this way. But he's got a good square here on c4, it looks like he's aiming for. And I could be thinking about playing, yeah, that's the problem. I am thinking about playing d5 in this position, but that hangs my pawn on e5. Nobody's supporting it, so I have to make some moves. My idea was to bring the queen up and a rook over to support the e-pawn, but he gets to c4 first, so I don't have a chance to chase him away. But then I come up with the idea, computer approved, of chasing the knight away with this move b5. Takes. Yeah, so here we come to the first of the tactical points. So let's turn the engine off, and let's just look at this. It's my move, and I play a takes, and he plays b4, attacking my knight. So if you're black, it's black to move. What move would you play here? Looks like a nice little tactic, wins a pawn. Give you a few seconds to think about it. And okay, if you haven't thought of the answer yet and you want more time to think about it, pause the video. I'm going to show you. It's rook takes rook. And I'm attacking the queen, so he has to respond. He has to get his rook back. And when the queen goes there, this pawn is hanging. And this d3 pawn is a very nice pawn to win. And the knight has a safe square to come back to over here. So this is all good for black. He's just a pawn up. I found a way to win a pawn that's not quite as good. But I play the knight to here, attacking this pawn. And he has to move his knight, and he can't move his knight and defend that pawn at the same time, but it's just not quite as smooth. I take the pawn, brings his queen out, And now the computer really wanted me to just bring my knight back to a4 here. But I thought it would be useful on the king side to play this way. And then I get my king out of this pin. His queen here, when he moved to b3, has set up a pin along this diagonal. And I don't want this pawn to be pinned. I want to be able to push some pawns, and I don't want things to suddenly open up with a check on my king there. So that's a kind of a prophylactic move, they call it. He attacks my knight, and now I have to decide whether to go to f4 here or d4. f4 is interesting. That probably would have been a good way to play too. But I decided to go here and get rid of the knight that's on defending his king side. So knight takes, pawn takes, and he pushes e5. And this was not the best move. And I found a good response to it, which is knight to d5. So he can grab a pawn. I mean, I can take the pawn back. It's basically undoubles my pawn, gives me a good pawn structure here. Although they're somewhat kind of up and down. They need to be brought together a little bit. Plays rook a c1, and he left this pawn hanging, so I can just grab it. He went rook to c6 here, attacking my queen. And but my queen has a good and aggressive square here on g2, g3 rather. So at this point, actually, black is just winning. And I felt like I was winning during the game. And somehow I did not find the right move. So he played here, which is defends a pawn, because I was threatening mate in 1. And I bring my knight in. Now, let's see. The computer thinks that knight to e3 here is slightly more accurate. Let's go back. Knight to e3 is a better move than knight to f4. I was having trouble deciding between these two moves, but I thought from f4 I could attack h3, which might be useful. But what the knight does on e3 is it guards this d2 square. So after knight to f4, this rook can come to d2 and help defend along the second rank, whereas after knight to e3 it just keeps the rook out of there, and I'm just winning. But I played this move, and he didn't bring his rook to d2. He played queen, a rook to c2, I guess. He played his queen to d1. And now, here's a little tactical puzzle for you. This is another move I played wrong, unbelievably. This is just a mate in 2 here. So, think about it for a little bit. If you don't see it, pause the video and think about it. You should be able to find this. I should have been able to find it during the game, but a mate in 2 is, you should be able to see those, even on a Blitz game. Okay, pause the video if you haven't, and or if you want to hear the answer I'm going to tell you now. The answer is simply rook takes g2. So, first of all, what's the threat? The threat is the immediate queen to h2 checkmate. So he can't leave the rook there. He can't move any of these other pieces that don't attack the rook. His only choice is actually to take the rook. His king can't move, and none of these other pieces can get in the way or interfere in any way. For example, a move like this is just too slow because the queen goes there and checkmates anyway. So take those back. So his only choice really is to take the rook with his rook, and then I come back with a queen, and that's checkmate. So a very nice little checkmate in 2, which I missed unbelievably. But I thought I was just winning with this move, knight takes h3. And I'm still winning, actually, according to the computer evaluation, but it's just material when it's not an immediate checkmate. So he brings his rook over. Well, he just grabs a pawn. But it also allows the rook to come back along this file, or to come down. And now I could just take his rook, and that would be good. Instead, I come up with this clever idea of threatening his queen, because I realized the queen was helping to defend. And, well, actually, what I was doing with this move was I was clearing the square for the knight. The knight comes to this square, places a check on the king, and the king has no squares to run to. They're all covered or blocked. So I'm threatening the queen, and I'm threatening checkmate. And I thought this was just winning, but the queen can take the rook. I go here with check, and the queen can take the knight. So I've won the queen for 2 pieces, and I'm still ahead. I have a rook and a queen against 2 rooks and a knight. So I'm better, but it's not so simple, and I have more pawns too. So materially I'm better, and I should win this game, but I have to be careful now because he's got active pieces, and they can create some counterplay. So we end up doing this kind of dance where I try to get my pieces over to deliver the fatal blow, and he's trying to harass me with his knight and his rooks and generally cause trouble. I pick up some pawns, and then I kind of hit on the idea, if I can round up enough of these pawns, I can just push my queenside pawns through and leave my king relatively safe over here behind my pawns on the king side. So I proceed with that plan, and all was going well up until this point here. Yeah. So now it's black's turn to move and lose the game. And because the evaluation swings from -5, which is 5 points in favor of black, to +5, 5 points in favor of white with this move. I was trying to harass the knight, get it out away from this location. And also the knight is covering the square on f8. I really wanted to bring my rook back to f8, and the knight is covering that square, so I was trying to chase it away. A good alternative move would have been playing my rook to f7. That would have been fine. But no, I played this move, rook to d6, trying to chase the rook and also get behind these pawns. And that allows white to play these moves, and now white actually wins the game. So a single move. First of all, there's 2 lessons here. One is, when you have the chance to checkmate somebody, you should do it right then and get the game over with. And the second thing is, when you're winning, you have to be careful when your opponent still has counterplay. You have to make allowances for that and be extra careful. So rook here check, forces king h7, knight there check, and the king has to come to the back rank either here or here, and then the knight can move with a discovered check. And I thought I was going to be able to escape with this move, but I forgot about the rook check from behind. I was thinking he would try and check me this way or check me with the knight, and if he checks me with the rook, I can grab this rook. If he checks me with the knight, then I can take the knight. So I thought this was going to turn out okay. I guess he could have tried checking me here. But he's got this other check with his rook from behind, supported by the knight. I can't take the knight because it's supported by that rook. Can't take the rook because it's supported by that knight. Got to run away, and so that puts me over here in this square. And now I was thinking, once again, I was thinking I was safe here at king h7, but he doubles up on the back rank. It's a very nice motif. You get it to the back rank, and he's also covering my flight square. So the king is trapped, and there's this deadly threat of rook to h8 mate. So I tried throwing in a check and then pushing a pawn up, thinking, well, now at least my king can escape this way. But white has a very nice mate in one here. Click. Game over. So well played, DDR. We'll have to play again sometime. Maybe I'll not overlook the mate in 2 this time. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave any comments you have in the section below. See you next time. Bye.